Hello, I'm going to a railway site tomorrow morning. I'm not sure which PPE I need to wear, and also what are the site safety procedures I need to follow to make sure I'll carry out the work safely. Please check that, and also I need to check what the travel expense policies of the company and what steps I need to follow to file my travel expense. Thank you. So now this workflow tells me that I need to look at the site safety PPE policy, industrial standards, access routes and site safety, and also the travel and expense rules. So it pulled out the right forms I need to check. Also tells me the reason why I need this form, how to use this form, and what are the sections of the forms I actually need to read. Eventually summarize the confidence level of this extraction. It also tells me that this policy and steps are directly mentioned in the retrieved documents, providing clear and direct guidance on your query regarding PPE requirement, site safety procedure, and travel expense policies, and how to file them. As someone who constantly advocates the busy professionals in the built environment should embrace AI as a tool to save time and stay competitive, I'm often asked the same question. Okay, Bill, how exactly do I do that in practice beyond all the high-level talks? So today we're going to dive into a very practical use case that I use personally, a RAG system, a Retrieval-Augmented Generation model that massively ease the knowledge and document hunting crisis inside a consultancy or contractor environment. Every day in consultancy and contracting environment, we repeat the same routine daily. Someone needs the latest risk assessment template. Someone else is hunting for the PPE policy. A project manager wants to know the rules on sick pay before a difficult conversation tomorrow. And we end up trawling through shared drives, old emails, and 20 versions of the same PDF. Or we just ask the one person who seems to know everything, where everything is. My name's Bill. I help busy professionals in the build environment, leveraging AI to save time, cut cost, and stay competitive. Today, I'm going to show you this RAGS workflow that turns your company procedures, standards, policies, guidance, notes, templates, you name it, into a single knowledge pool that you can query in plain language anytime from your phone. So why does this matter? In most design consultancies and contracting businesses, knowledge lives in three places predominantly: scattered folders, project drives, SharePoints, Teams, personal laptops, or long PDFs, standards, procedures, company policies, lessons learned, all just in people's head, creating little memory silos that the senior engineers or the responsible people who simply remember how things are and done. This creates a few very painful problems. You'll lose time searching for the right form, templates, or policy. You'll risk using the wrong or out-of-date versions. New starters of the project team or the new engineers depends on gatekeepers to answer some of the basic questions. And when people move on, a lot of that practical knowledge just goes with them. Traditional search doesn't really fix it. It only matches keywords. If your question and the documents use different wording, you won't be able to find those answers easily. What I will show you today is a RAG workflow that always look at your version-controlled documents, understand their meaning, and return the answer based only on your content. So what is RAG? RAG in action, there's three use cases I put on the screen. It stands for Retrieval-Augmented Generation. Retrieval means we search a knowledge base for the most relevant piece of information, and generation is we use AI model to turn those pieces into clear, human-readable answers. You might ask, what's the difference between ChatGPT and RAG? It sounds quite similar. The key difference is that the model is not allowed to invent answers from the open internet. It can only use the chunks of text we retrieved from your own documents. And the knowledge base might include company policies, procedures, project standards, design manuals, forms and templates for risk assessment, method statement, ITPs, governance arrangement, task briefs, lessons learned, or project closed out reports, things like that. Those things add value or are mission critical to your business. Typical use cases are site team checking PPE, access, isolation, or safety system of work before they go on site. Designers checking design review steps or approval routes to make sure they demonstrate compliance. Project managers checking commercial rules, variation, change control, expenses. HR and line managers answering consistent policy questions. The value is very simple. Less time searching, fewer interruptions, more consistent, auditable decision based on the latest version of your document. So next, I will give you a high-level view of how this can be built in NAEnt, which is a tool I use as a no-code, low-code environment to build a RAG system. You don't need to be a developer to follow this. You don't need to pay a lot of money to build something like this. It's very accessible, and that's the whole point of leveraging AI to help business professionals to unlock ability to achieve this in our days. So this is the NAEnt workplace where a RAG can be put together. A much simpler version can be built, or much more complex version can be built. And there's different ways a RAG can work around in this NAEnt workflow. To the left, you have a schedule trigger. It can trigger 3 times a day. For example, every night, go and look for new updated documents that you put in the Google Drive folder. And then the Google Drive and Google Sheet node will basically, the drive is where we store all the PDFs, all the policies and procedures and templates. And then there's a simple sheets that keep track of where those files are already processed. So we won't double load those files and keep them version controlled. Then we'll download and extract those files, find new files, and NAEnt will extract those texts from those files automatically. And then it will use a node to clean up those files and metadata and send that raw text to an AI node where it strips out all the headers and footers. Those are not relevant, and then just put those in a nice JSON structure that the AI can read and also can be embedded in the data store. The text is split into overlapping chunks. Each chunk is converted into an embedding, a numerical representation of its meaning. And those embedding are stored in a vector data store. In this case, I use Pinecone, which is our vector database, together with metadata like documents names, sections, and versions. And this is basically the injection side to make sure there's a kind of a curation and injection workflow, keep all the documents clean, version controlled, and avoid double loading. And this can be set up quite easily. On the other side, there's the query workflow, where it simply start with a chat trigger. The chat trigger can be Teams or WhatsApp or Telegram. In this case, I use Telegram because it's easier to set up. AI, then the agent will read the query that you send in the chat, and the agent will have tools such as, in this case, the Pinecone data to search those embedded data and come up with some response. And those response needs to be grounded by having the right prompt. This is talking about context engineering and prompt engineering. And writing that prompt is what we as business professionals need to think very hard, is what we want this AI agent to behave. So to make it grounded, those chunks plus the questions are sent to the model with a strict instruction, say answer only using those documents. And if the information is cannot be found, say you don't know, don't just hallucinate. And then once it generates a response, you will then go to a response, send a text message back to the Telegram chat that you sent the query in the first place, and that can complete the loop. The user journey, they will just put a query in the chat and then receive the response, and all the backend will just run without the user interact with them. So it actually, on the front end, is quite clean and simple. So if we dive a little bit deeper, if we go to this existing file, is just check where there's existing documents in here. Currently, there isn't anything. I will run you through how I gonna put this in here automatically, not me doing that. And then this folder is where those files will be stored. Where I create a folder called the Consultancy Knowledge Vault demo purely for this video. And this can be a folder like this, which I already put 5 documents in here. Those are made up or publicly accessible from the internet, such as travel expense policy, which is created by ChatGPT. Site safety and PP policy, ChatGPT created. Railway standards, this is actually some standards, very old version that I just put in there to demonstrate the use case. So you could have standards in there, industrial standards in there. CDM 2015, this is, the CDM 2015 regulation guidance is quite a long document. Think about as a designer or a contractor, you need to be compliant to this. This is mission critical, but you could use this as a knowledge pool for you to query this standard or regulation piece. Another thing is a CSM, a template, common safety method, templates. That is a presentation that I received previously, just another demo there. So with all these 5 documents in here, this create a quite good mixture of type of documents we normally deal with. You could have even drawings and technical drawings, project reports, scopes, all that sort of things in there created. But this should give a good flavor what we can really do with this workflow. If I run this in real time, you can see it receives all the placeholders. Currently, it's just placeholders. And then you will check what are the files in the folder we already put in. I will see that there are the 5 files already got in that folder. You'll then check whether those files are already in the sheet. Obviously, they are not because the sheet is empty and the files are already in the folder. So we'll check those 5 files, and then turns out, okay, all 5 files will go to the loop because all 5 files are not in this spreadsheet. And then once it goes to the loop, I'll keep this open on the side. I'll let you see what this does. You should be able to see the file's name, summary, use case, and tag, and version will be gradually put in here by the AI agent. Let it run for the 5 times. Okay, got 3 files now. While it runs, we can look at the summary and the use case, which already creates some useful information for those files and already can be used by the professionals. The document outline the rules for reclaiming business expense relating to travel accommodation. That sounds right. Use case to provide a clear framework for employee to claim, blah, blah, blah. So those 2 are generated, that's fine. And the CDM one, provide a comprehensive guidance on managing health and safety, that's correct. And to guide individual organization, that's all correct. And the version, because the first one didn't have a version, the second one had one, and this one had one, the version will also be read by the agent and put in here. Okay, now we have all the files embedded as it appear here, and all the summary use cases and tags and versions all extracted. If we look at the Pinecone side, there is a number of chunks already put in the Pinecone side. I haven't shown you this before because it takes some steps to set this up, but it's not very difficult. You don't really need coding or anything. It's quite user-friendly. That's why I use Pinecone for this demonstration. But all of those information from those files has already been embedded in this vector data store in this multi-dimensional vectors. where they can find each other using vectorized data rather than keyword search. So that's in the backend. You just need to know it's a vector data store that is storing this rather than just plain text. So now let's demonstrate the use case of this. So I have finished creating a chatbot of this file. So this chat will be this chat trigger. If I type anything here, it will be sending through this node into this agent, which will query the vector data store, which is consulting knowledge vault from Pinecone. As you can see, this is Pinecone vector store, and then it will use this AI based on this system prompt, which I already created using ChatGPT, and then output with a response. And we know this vector store have already got all the knowledge of these 5 files. So we can ask anything, and let's see how it works. So for example, I know I work in the railway. In the railway, in that standards, we already put in there the railway standards, the Civil 03, already create I think it's Civil 03 and Auto 09. Those are 2 standards in the railway, define all the roles involved in the design process. So let's say, what is the role of a DPE? And if you don't work in the railway, you don't really know what DPE stands for. It stands for Designated Project Engineer. It's quite important role in the railway design environment, where it's kind of one of the most important accountable person ensuring the design are compliant. So if we put this message in ChatGPT, it won't give me any solid response. It will just hallucinate. It will just go to some very random sources, and I wouldn't know that's right or wrong. But because I already prompted this vector data store that it will only output the information based on the information I embedded in this vector store, I know whatever it come back is quite a good quality. So you can see it already come back with a very specific roles to the DPE. The role of DPE, so the shortened acronym is correct, is defined in the Auto 009. DP is responsible for appointing project engineer, blah, 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 as an engineer, DP engage. That's correct. So from my knowledge, that's correct. Do you need the policy and form? Yes, you're dealing with the roles, blah, blah, blah. So you do need the form to understand this. How to use it, actually tell you how to use it. Appointment of the PE and consultancy and agreement, stage submission, etc. And eventually it give you an indication of the confidence. And this confidence is AI trying to tell you how confident this piece of information, how much of a hallucination so basically he assess his own response, his own homework, and tell you, okay, I'm really confident in this response, or I'm very low confidence in response. Give you a kind of a opposite example that I expect to have a very low confidence is so who is Donald Trump? That might be a good question. You see, come back with that there's no relevant document or policy or forms relevant to this query. Nothing is the database match this, so the confidence is low. But if you do this in ChatGPT, it actually will give you a very good answer because it can search the internet, or we have already built in the knowledge. But it wouldn't give you a very good response based on this. So that's what differentiate between a RAG and a normal LLM like ChatGPT or Gemini or anything like that. Let's just spice up a little bit. Think about a scenario that tomorrow morning you need to go on site. It's already 10 p.m. in the evening, and you don't know what are the PPE you need to wear tomorrow. And the project manager or your line manager already fell asleep. You got nobody to ask for, but you do need to wake up very early tomorrow morning and show up with the right equipment or PPE. So there is a document in the site safety PPE policy that already the company created this RAG system that help you to chat with. And let's say you always make sure there's most relevant updated document policies in there. So as a professional, you could just use this chat and put the question is, I'm going on to a railway site tomorrow. What PPE do I need to wear, or anything specific I need to take with me? It might be a. Let's see how it responds. Okay, so it pull up this engineering site safety PPE policy, which is this policy, and it sets out basic safety rules, blah blah blah, as tasks PPE should be required for specific tasks such as fall arrest, harness. And do you know this policy? Do you need this policy? Yes, you're visiting a railway site. Compliance with the outline PPE requirements is mandatory. How to use it? Minimum PPE requirements, etc. Let's ask another thing. There is also a travel expense. So how do I do my travel expense? It's the same policy, and it will tell you how to use the. Sorry, it's not the same policy. It's the travel and expense rules projects. So it's this policy, and it will say how to use it, the claim process, etc. So it's correct. I already checked the document itself. It's all correct, and the confidence is high. So those are the real-world use cases as just for demonstration purposes. You could be a site team, or design engineer, or project manager, or HR or line manager, and all those use cases will save you time, will fewer interruption because you don't have to wait for the people to give you the answer, and also the question is always most of the time confident. It failed by the human, not by the system. So there is assurance that I always work on the latest document and the latest policy. Make sure you are working in the right form. But just recap, it will have a schedule trigger to run automatically, let's say every night, to check for new and updated documents that are uploaded by your project team or HR team or admin. The document detection will check the Google Drive for PDF and track process the file in a simple spreadsheet. So always you can just look at the spreadsheet and know what's in there. Extract and clean will download new documents, extract text, and use AI to remove headers and footers and detect metadata. It will chunk and embed automatically as well, split text into overlapping chunks, convert them each into a numeric embedding representing meaning. And then it will save everything in embedding into a pinecone with metadata like document names, section, version numbers, etc. This is just a starting point. If you trust this kind of a AI layer, you can go a lot further. For example, you can ask the system not only find the right forms or templates, but draft the first version of those forms and templates or method statements for your engineer to review. You can generate email for clients that already reference the correct clause from your contracts or your change procedures. And you can build project-specific knowledge pools. Each framework or projects or a portfolio will have its own RAG system or even own RAG chat, where your clients or your supply chain, it can all come into this ecosystem and collaborate with only relevant documents and with version controlled and also authority controlled, only right people allowed to query the right body of the documents. But think about the power of that. Your client doesn't have to keep budging on the project manager of the consultant or contractor. What's the progress of the project? They could just chat with the chat box and say, What are the bottlenecks at the moment? What did we discuss last meeting, and what are the milestones, etc., etc. And the chat can give the clients instant feedback of the project. I think the important message here is that the technology is not science fiction. It's not just for the big tech anymore. Actually, quite opposite. It's becoming a commodity, and simple tools like this can be picked up by a busy professional like myself in just a matter of days or weeks. With tools like NAN or other low-code or no-code or other AI models, the small and medium enterprises in the built environment can build this today with documents they already have. The shift is less in technical but more cultural. It's about being willing to test it on a pilot project, monitor the answers, gradually let the system handle the more repetitive administrative tasks, so your people can focus more on the site-specific, risk-driven, decision-driven activities such as creating, designing, delivering, and leadership. If you'd like to see more examples of a practical AI workflow for the built environment, connect with me on LinkedIn, leave a message, leave a comment, or subscribe to my YouTube channel and let me know in the comments which case you'd like me to build next. If you're a consultancy or contractor and you want to explore what rack system for your own policy, standards, and templates, book a call with me. I'll put a call down below so you can schedule a half an hour call directly with me and we can talk deeper. Thanks for watching. I hope this helped you in some way, help you to see how close and how practical those technology already in our industry and can help us as busy professionals in the built environment. I'll see you next time. Thank you.